Hello, and remember, this series comes with a parental guidance warning. If you are adverse to gore, violence, moments of intense mental trauma, and such, granted, even with fade to black moments, if that's still too much for you, remember, we do have other series available on our channel that don't come with a parental guidance warning. And it's with that moment we all do know with a parental guidance warning all said and done, that only means one thing, that we are going into our favorite campaign utilizing the Mystery Meat Pit Cipher System Edition. And oh boy, did we have some interestingness and some great reveals in the last session, because we're now at the point of the vacation where we've had the fun first day's activities of going to SeaWorld, and maybe someone, or maybe not, have burned it down down to the ground. And then they had a fun evening at the beach. It ended with, once again, maybe someone having discussions with eldritch entities. And you know what? Hey, whatever happens at the beach stays on the beach. And then they had an unforgettable night at the gas station, at some place in the middle of some place. And then finally they got to where they're going to be staying for the next couple of weeks while they're on vacation. It's this really beautiful villa that they found out is actually a living entity. This house is alive, and it, oh boy, but in going even more than that, that this is literally a reason why this house has become animated is because it's a combination of three different things. And Maury was the one who found out that in the basement resides an entity that refers to himself as the Dark God. He hails from the seventh dimension, just as the nature spirit that Riley and Moonlight and Yoretzi had found merged literally with the house upstairs. These two entities from the seventh dimension being fused with the house and being conveniently above a opening to the flesh pit, and just all that strangeness from the flesh pit fusing with seventh dimensional entities and the lumber of the house has literally caused it to become a living entity. But because of that, the dark god and the nature spirit are permanently fused to the house and they can't leave unless they were used to just cut them out and they would die. But the Dark God, he's a man with a dream. He's a man with a dream to start crooning and to become the greatest pop idol known to man. And this man's got pipes with how he was trying to swoon Maury, but Maury ain't got time for that. But he's open to being a friend. And then Riley and Xavier headed off to talk. Yeah, we'll go with that. And then Moonlight meeting Nathaniel's father, and granted, he is just as girthy and such as Nathaniel, but he is nowhere as incel-y. He's honestly your typical old Irish grandpa. He's a very nice man, and Moonlight's just been learning a lot about silica-based life forms. And then, finally, Sticky Joe, Bethany, and Scruffy, they made their way down to the Fey basement where the dwarf-sized killer has been being kept captive, and Bethany was finally awarded a piece of that meat that she has been drastically chasing after, but doesn't mean the dwarf-sized killer's dead. He's still alive there in the cell. He's just buttless now, and he hates it. But the Fae have promised him a new comfy ass. It's just when they said a new comfy ass, he did not expect to have literally a couch cushion shaped in the form of ass cheeks to be sewn onto his butt. So he now has an ass made of couch cushion. It's comfy, but just another thing to make him even more hateful. And Sticky Joe, he thought he was having to have a night of giving himself away or whatever to procure what he wants from the Fae, but honestly, no. The king right now, he's past cravings of the flesh, and he is now down with shaping, molding, and pounding of the flesh, and not in a sexual way, because this king of the Fae right now, his greatest passion and love in life right now is bodybuilding and wrestling, specifically Roman Greco wrestling. And oh boy, when he took on the form that he takes on for wrestling, Sticky Joe just he let out a squeal as he realized, oh, I'm about to get manhandled. Lord, give me strength. And even Armstrong. But Armstrong just, when he finally found Sticky Joe and his eyes beheld the sight before him, he just shed a tear at the raw sight of manliness in front of him. But soon, though, him and Bethany will be finding themselves summoned to the... There is a nice little auditorium section of the home. This is a very big McMansion. It's not really an auditorium, it's more like a great ballroom, but they've set up a makeshift stage because, of course, with this Mafia Summit, there is their favorite activity over everything. It is the time for them when they get to do the annual Mafia Talent Show, and they all get to flex their stuff. So I would like to begin picking up with, right now, pressing matters because of where we are. I have to pick up with you, Sticky Joe. So when we come into this moment, it's just raw. We see, Joe, you have bruises all over your abdomen. Your right eye has a cut above it, bleeding onto your eye, and in front of you just see sparkling, glowing light in front of you. And the Fey King looks to his male cheerleaders going, "You got him, King!" And he does the finger guns at him. And granted, the Fey King is not big and bulgy and ginormously fat. No, this man is a perfect Adonis of muscle. And Sticky Joe, you're tall, but the Fey King's got about a good 3 feet on you. And about a good maybe 350 pounds of muscle on top of that. Where is Sticky Joe's head at as you're about to start the final round between you and the Fey King?
Sticky Joe wants to change his reward. Sticky Joe wants to train under the Fey King.
The Fey King, he smashes one fist into his other one, and it literally shakes the room.
You think you can handle training under the champ? Who do you think is the one that got Armstrong as tough as he is?
Armstrong, he lets out a mighty flex, and literally all of his clothes just shatter, and you just see him standing in there in a Speedo, and he's just,
"You know what? I do have to admit, it was you, King, that got me the glorious Adonis way I am now."
And you see Armstrong's wife is just collapsed, and blood's just pouring from her nose, and she's just, oh God, my dreams have come true. So much muscle.
Joe, this is your greatest test in life. If you think you can do it, show my teacher what you got. Come on, little human, show me what you got. You're gonna hit me as hard as you can. And then, after I take it, and I'm still standing, I'm gonna hit you with everything I got. Because that's how a real man fights.
Sticky Joe accepts.
Joe, I need you to roll. This is how serious this moment is. This cannot be reduced. You gotta roll. This is a difficulty 6, dude. You gotta beat it 18.
Could I use my Nunchaku gun for any kind of advantage?
If you do that, there's going to be a price to pay. I can't tell you what the price is yet, but do you want to pay this price?
You know, this is a challenge of manliness. You know what? I'm not going to use the Nunchaku gun. I'm not going to cop out with an advantage.
Okay, because I was just going to trigger a certain event a little earlier, but okay, I respect this. So, go ahead and roll.
Okay, once everything I got, here we go. Oh, Lord. This is like one of those times I said, like, watch, I'm going to roll crap when it, like, means the most. 16.
Okay, you didn't roll that bad underneath. Remember, just because you don't meet the roll doesn't mean it's a end-all, beat-all failure. This is what happens, Joe. You literally, this is really, listeners, to depict to you the sheer masculinity, but also the sheer athleticism that's about to happen. Joe, you squeeze your hand so tight that blood starts to drench down your palm, and you're cocking it back. And then when you look at the Fey King, your eyes lock on him, and you take one step forward. Your foot literally caves into the ground underneath you. The house shakes in pain. Granted, it reclines, though, from not going in anger, from the sheer amount of fucking masculinity at this moment. It knows, oh God, this man could fucking kill me with one punch in this sheer moment. Fuck that. And you let go this amazing punch. Literally, there's no sound as with how quick you move, and your fist makes contact with the Fey King's abdomen. Boom! There's a sonic boom. Everything's flowing, wind, everything. And Armstrong's just looking, crying, just,
That's my pupil for you.
and the Fey King, as the smoke and everything clears out, he looks at you, not with a look of anger, with a look of pride.
That was a magnificent blow. Allow me to respond in kind.
You prepare yourself. He turns back, and when he cocks his hand, that's when, to your eye, you see what just looks like pure energy building up, just boom. Everything just shaking around you.
This day forward, you are now my student, and I shall call you Joe.
When he steps forward, it craters underneath his foot. Everything craters underneath you. And when the fist comes at you, once again, there's no sound when it makes contact with you. You feel your entire abdomen, everything shatter and you would go flying if not for the Fey King at literally when you hear him say,
Speed of sound, knuckle.
he's right behind you, and with a double hammer fist, he sinks you into the ground. Joe, you feel all of your bones just shattered and reverberating, broken. In this moment, though, but you feel, my God, I am in the presence of someone that's going to make me the strongest ranger the Mystery Meat Pit's ever had. And granted, any other moment, this would have been a moment where you would have had to worry about your character dying and such, because yeah, you would be on death's door. You're on death's door at this moment, and the Fey King rips you out of the ground, ripping your fucking body out of it, and you just see a perfect fucking Sticky Joe symbol in the ground. And he opens your mouth and he pops in it kind of looks like a lima bean. You crunch and crunch and crunch, and you feel your bones re-knitting, setting back in place. It still hurts like a motherfucker, but you feel good. You feel good. So, and he puts you down, and he, with one of his massive, muscly hands,
Joe, you may call me Super Kami Guru. And as the great Super Kami Guru, we will begin your training first thing in the morning. But I want you to enjoy the rest of your night.
Joe, what is going through Joe's mind after that, taking that blow and everything?
Well, for one, whatever magical being he just gave him, it healed Joe's shattered left testicle from years ago, so he's extra grateful. But his mind is blown. He just barely survived. He earned the respect of the Fey King, and Joe's tired of being a damn fool. He sees how strong Moonlight is, how everyone else is, and before he thirsts for power for himself, but now he wants the power to protect others. So he's humbled by this experience, and with his free evening, he definitely wants to spend some time with Peggy and treat her right. Not necessarily anything sexual or kinky, but to have a good, sincere, quality time of intimacy and just contemplating on everything. So he's gonna put on his best beard bow and dap her up a little bit.
So, when you took that blow from the Fey King and you were on death's door, dear listeners, you will remember back in episode 5. Wow, this is crazy to think that we are at episode 19 right now. But back in episode 5, in Sticky Joe's past, he had encountered a certain individual that left a symbol on his chest. Joe, in your mind, two memories went through your mind. A memory you had forgotten a very long time ago. Because people have asked you, hey, why are you called Sticky Joe? And granted, you've made a silly joke about it every now and then. Guess what? You honestly couldn't remember for the life of you. And as you laid there in the ground and you were prepared to accept your death because, hey, maybe you weren't ready to become stronger and you were humbled and you were accepting. So a memory came to you and you remember. This is a great memory because this is right before your dad disappeared, and it was your birthday, and you had a great birthday. Your dad took you to your favorite childhood pizza parlor, and it has a arcade in there, and you just remember going to town on those arcade machines all the time, and you remember when the time like you were playing Pac-Man and your hand, it got super sticky, and so did your shirt. Everything just got sticky because someone poured soda all over the machine, and the way you were all up against it, it just got all over you. You're covered with soda syrup. And when you got back to your dad just looks at you and goes, "Look at you, you're sticky all over. You're just my little sticky Joe." And it's in that moment you remember that this wasn't some joke. This was something lovingly given to you by your father. And that's why you've always kept this name. It's because it was a way for you to always feel connected with your dad. And granted, having your dad back in your life now, you were happy, but this makes it even more by having an understanding that you really do have your dad to thank for everything and how you shaped yourself. And then when that little child Sticky Joe turned around, he's slowly turning into the adult Sticky Joe, there was a man standing there with his hands behind his back, wearing big, magnificent beads around his neck, a painted third eye on his forehead, hair tied back in a bun. "Joe, it's good to finally see you again. It's time, and you remember how to see me. Come and see me. It's time for you to become the man you need to be." When when this memory and this event happen, how do you feel about this?
It's like I mentioned, it's whenever somebody's about to die, like their life can flash before their eyes. Suddenly, Joe's freaked out because first thought is, "I seen Star Wars. It's a Force ghost." But then he's like, "Okay, I can't be this way. I gotta take a breath." Realizing, why is there a handprint glowing on my chest? But yeah,
You feel a very nice warmth from it. You feel safe.
uh, Joe's ready to. I mean, Joe's still going to spend the evening with Peggy, but after things settle down, he remembers training with this guy in Tibet when he was trying to hunt down the Wendigo. So he remember learning how to meditate. So he's going to meditate on this thought and try to open himself up to the universe that he long closed him. Joe closed himself down to, because of a lot of trauma, losing his dad and other things. But he's not going to run from this anymore. He's ready to go to the next level.
You hear the voice tell you, "Joe, tonight, when you rest, you will see me, and I will take you, and I will help you understand." Now, you said you wanted to spend the night with Peggy, and having the rest of the evening with Peggy. Well, as you're going, you're asking them, "Hey, have you seen the that you were with?" And they're like, "Oh, you mean the very talented lounge singer? She is at the stage room. She's actually practicing with the Bach father. He's playing piano and she's singing right now." And do you head towards where they are, Joe?
Yes.
You follow towards where the grand ballroom is. And granted, all the doors are opening for you. Now, granted, this house doesn't have automatic doors. The house is recognizing your manliness. The house only does this for the Fae, okay? So you've gotten to the same status as the Fae now. So, and as you're going, you hear this beautiful song, and then you get there, you see the Bach father, the magnificent old rooster Don, and he's playing on this beautiful grand black piano. And Peggy, she's wearing okay, the best way to describe the way she's dressed is she looks like fucking Jessica Rabbit from Framed Roger Rabbit, just the small mogwai girl I described. So her hair is beautiful red. She's wearing that sparkly red dress, and she's got sparkly red heels. And Joe, the singing that you hear coming from her just brings a tear to your eye. And god damn, the Bogfather, he can play them keys. That man is a talented piano player. So what would you like to do, Joe?
I'd like to sing, like to sing a little ditty with Peggy called "Kiss and Coo."
Roll me a d20 real quick, Joe.
At a 12.
You are actually able to harmonize. This is, in all honesty, this honestly becomes like that. God damn, I can't remember who it was Johnny Cash was performed with back in the day, the woman that he was with, but it's basically like that, and it's amazing. And granted, the Bachfather just tears in his eyes, and that's when Robbie comes from behind the stage, and he's just, "Oh hell no! You're supposed to be my singing partner." And he gets in your face, Joe. And the rooster's and he's like, I got you special hair gel and everything, man. Look, I even got it special jackets. And you see, he's got you a leather jacket, and on the back of it, it says T-Birds. We're gonna be the Thunderbirds.
I will proudly put on that jacket. We still gonna sing, brother. We still gonna sing.
As if to recognize like what's going on when that jacket comes on, your hair just poofs into a pompadour.
Just imagine my beard doing the same thing.
You know what? Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll say you now have, and it's because, so, dear listeners, I would actually like to take a quick chance to, above board, explain a little something. Now, when I said about the whole fist chin thing, there actually is a reason for this besides just being a one-off joke. So Joe actually has a vestigial twin, and the vestigial twin, he thinks it's a fist, but it's the vestigial twin just has 5 limbs that he's able to move about that looks like a hand. But so your vestigial twin now has a pompadour, which you now have an upside down pompadour for a beard. You feel even more manlier. And you know what? Yeah, that's perfect, Maury. That's exactly how Joe's pompadour looks. And falling from the sky, as if to recognize this moment, a pair of just magnificent aviators fall on your face.
Does this keep happening to me?
Blood just pours from Peggy's nose as she's just, so beautiful. It's like, honestly, like, even the Bachfather's just like, I ain't gonna lie. If I was a woman, I'd be all over you. Didn't you didn't you come through earlier with the young lady and the scruffy looking guy, the janitor? What was your name, young man?
I am the art formerly known as Sticky Joe, and now you may call me Joe. I'm gonna give a polite bow to the Bachfather.
Oh, you don't need to make with such formalities here. During the summit, we're out, young man. I'm just your elder. It's just a simple sir. Good day. Just being polite is more than enough. You don't need to do all that. And he comes from behind the piano, and he helpingly tries to get you to stand up, and he holds your hand and he shakes it. And the Bachfather's got a damn good, strong grip. Even though right now his arm is currently a wing, even with this wing-like hand, it's a damn strong grip.
Definitely respect the strength.
And, I just would like to take the second to tell you, but let bygones be bygones. There's no hostilities between me and my others and you, young man. We get it. Tension's hot. Robbie was just he's a little hot-headed at times. Grandpa, why you gotta be like, Robbie, we talked about it. Yes, Bachfather. Now, and I appreciate you taking the time to perform with my nephew here. Now, well, with my great nephew here. And I know you'll do a great job, and if I'm, well, being led to believe from the reaction of the young lady Peggy here, I should be able to tell that you must be her partner that she was going on and on about.
She's one special lady.
Well, don't second guess yourself, young man. I can clearly tell you're a very special young man as well. Now, if you're free during some point during the rest of our summit, because our summit usually lasts about a good 2 weeks. If you're free during this time, I would love to take you about town and show you a night that only we from our group can show you, young man.
Joe would be honored, but tonight is my lady's night.
I can respect a man of good class and manners and respect for his loved one. I'll send Robbie during the week and we'll plan something out. Robbie, you will have a good rest of your night. Your grandfather, that piano, playing the keys really drained a lot from me. So I'm going to go to bed now. And this is when you see the Bachfather's bodyguard come from behind the stage. And so his bodyguard stands about a good 6'4". He's wearing a white suit, and he's got like a black bolo looking tie. And he has slick white hair and a slick white mustache and a white long goatee. And you can tell underneath that white suit that this man is just pure muscle. And he's got glasses on, they're square glasses, but dear God, he just radiates power. Come in now, Colonel. The Bachfather's tired. He looks at you. He looks at the Bachfather, and he follows behind him. And he looks over at you, Joe, and he winks, and he heads out.
I'm blushing a little bit.
And Robbie looks at you and goes, "Oh man, you got the respect of the Colonel. That's he's literally one of the most powerful mercenaries and bodyguards out there."
I feel something. I feel something on my other thigh. Not the one with the stab mark in it from the pint-sized killer, but the other thigh, and somehow there's a tattoo of the Colonel there and the Bachfather. Like, what the? When the fuck did that happen?
I
I'm
love
not
it.
mad about it.
And now, here's the funny thing is, I'm really glad you mentioned that connection with the dwarf-sized killer because, granted, no one could know this, but the Fey guard, he had unlocked the door because he was just going to smack around the dwarf-sized killer. He's going to smack Rudy around, but that little fucker, he, granted, may not be powerful, but what he lacks in power, he has great speed, and he's really good with a knife, and that body will be found in the morning. And granted, he had started searching for Bethany because his fear of her weird cannibalism has gone and he's back to wanting her head on the wall. But when he was going through the vents and he looked at the stage and he saw you, Joe, and his left eye started to hurt. And he's rubbing it because he has a scar that goes from the top of his head down to his jaw on the left side of his, where you did a masterful chop, literally slicing through, just permanently blinding him in his left side because you split his literal pupil in half. And he just holds it and he's just, the final girl can wait. You die next. Joe, you feel this murderous intent coming from... Actually, no, I'm not going to give that to you for free. I'm going to need you to roll me a 20 and you got to beat a 12.
Okay. I got a 15.
You feel this raw, murderous bloodlust coming from it. But you don't feel fear. You know who this is. He calls himself the dwarf-sized killer, but to you be the little pint-sized bitch that you blinded in his left eye, even though he got that little cheap shot on your thigh. And you're about to walk towards that vent, but Peggy holds your hand. Not understanding the situation, just seeing her man looking so goddamn good, she holds your hand. Here's the thing about Mogwais. Mogwais are silica-based life forms. And I explained how silica-based life forms have a different... Well, things can change under a full moon. And, well, Peggy, she now stands about a good 5'7". And, well, honestly, the best way to describe her looks, she looks like Amanda Siegfried.
You said for a second.
Okay, I was saying she looks like Amanda Siegfried, and she's just holding your hand, Joe, and you can feel her, and she has her other hand just doing a little circle on the back of your hand. What are you going to do?
Up as much as I want to punt that little pint-sized fucker, tonight's about my lady, so that little shit can wait.
And this is where we're going to fade to black as Joe is going to romantic night. But Joe's night is not over with. I will come back to you in a bit, Joe. Because as you're heading towards... So the way this is going to work, this is the best way for me to describe this moment. This would be like one of my favorite directors, who is Paul W.S. Anderson. He did the Royal Tenenbaums, Royal Budapest, and other great films. And so as the camera follows Sticky Joe, it actually stops and then it goes off in a different direction. And as it's going, it literally is falling through doors, and then it comes to a wall, and then continues going through the wall, because now we see Maury traveling through a very secret special set of stairs that is going to lead him to his special, well, I guess we could just call it a special presidential suite here in the house. And this is a very beautiful way that you're going. It's a red carpet along the stairs, golden inlaid arm rails, a selection of paintings that why these are not in Louvre and such, and why they're here, you can only guess from questionable means, especially with who's here at the summit.
That's right. I'm going to take one of the smaller ones with me.
You grab a Picasso, and as you're walking with your Picasso, and hell, there's even halfway there, you see a little champagne flute glass filled with some champagne. And granted, does Maury take the champagne? It's just regular sparkling Dom Perignon.
Nah.
One of the Mogwais happily take that. They're just, oh! And that's actually, when you look back, you see that they've all grown to about a good 5'6", and they all just, they all kind of look like, one looks like Shia LaBeouf, one looks like young Tobey Maguire, and another one just Looks like Leonardo DiCaprio in his young days. They're all very handsome. And as you keep going, this is when you were told the super secret special doors that you have to open. And you come to the first one. It's a painting that you were told you slide it to the left, like you make it a little crooked. The wall opens up. You see a brick wall. You specifically push in a certain brick, and the bricks start to move away. There's a special safe door. You turn it once to the right, twice to the left, and it spins open, and you see this magnificent suite. This is something that would put a Vegas executive suite to shame. You literally have it's a 2-story suite. You can see your little spiral staircase that goes up to the bedroom loft area. There's a fucking fountain in the middle of the whole suite, and you see a nice selection of fruit and other sweets and snacks have been left for you, and then a special card that says Maury on it. Do you pick it up and read it?
Yeah, this place reminds me of my house in the Hamptons. Yeah, I'll take the little note.
I had a great time with our talk today, and I was thinking more about our conversation and specifically your collection. And because you're willing to, and you said that you want to try to help me free me, I thought I would make good on my side about your collection. Take a look in the closet.
Which closet?
Master bedroom.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to go in the master bedroom quite yet. I want to take a look around and see if there's any sort of, anything suspicious, I'll put.
You actually don't even need to roll anything for this because the room is on the level. It's just very extravagant, like you said, it reminds me of mountains. Maybe it's because he had Xavier and Spencer stalking you, so he was able to literally build the room based off your own home, so that's why it looks so similar. But other than that, there's nothing suspicious.
To leave a single silver coin at the bottom of the fountain, and then I'll head to the master bedroom.
Do you make a wish?
No.
This is going to be interesting. So when you head to the master bedroom, you hear the sound of like munching and eating coming from the master bedroom. Coming from the closet. And it just smells like a bunch of pizzas.
Interesting.
Do you open the closet?
I'm going to crack it open and peek in first.
So what you see sitting on the ground just shoving literal pizza boxes down one mouth and then into a mouth on their stomach, and you swear you see mouths on their hands. You see what looks like if they were standing up, would be a whopping 5'2". The face has no eyes, just a mouth, and their whole body looks like it's that felt fur, like a Muppet. It like Oscar the Grouch. But you just see it shoveling food down these mouths.
Like this before. I don't remember what it was called, but I definitely saw one once, and I wasn't able to grab one.
And he's finally able to stop gorging for a minute. It stops and it turns at its head and goes, "Well, hi there. My name is Gorblox, and I'm the Devourer of Worlds. I was told that I'm supposed to go to your home."
Maybe not my home, but I do have a museum of sorts.
Will there be more of these pizza thingies?
There can be.
Then I will happily go.
Excellent.
Oh, and I was also supposed to hold on. He reaches his left hand into the right hand mouth, and he pulls out a scroll, and he hands it to you. The scroll is not made of any type of material you could ever find on Earth. And don't worry, it's not covered in spit or anything.
That does make it easier to handle.
And when you unfurl it, the best way to describe this, it looks like one of those very old Japanese scroll paintings. But the colors, once again, you cannot describe these colors. And whatever the ink or material, you have no idea what it's made of. And it really blows your mind because this scene is animated. And you see just this gargantuan, just massive tendrils chasing after the moon. And the Gorblox just looks at you and goes, "That's Fenrir. I was told to give you that would be something else really good for your collection because no one in the world knows the real truth of what's going on. And yeah, that's Fenrir. He's chasing the moon. For some reason, you guys drew him as a big dog, but nah, he's some big giant like thing from space that is hungry for your moon. and he comes from our dimension, and, well, I may be called the devourer of worlds, but he's the devourer of cosmoses, so it's pretty interesting.
That's a lot of devouring.
And just to tell you something kind of funny, but the minute he started chasing your moon is the minute all this weird stuff started happening to your guys' planet.
Makes sense.
But I'm gonna go back to eating these pizzas. These things are delicious. If you have any questions about the seventh dimension, Finra, or anything about like that, just I'll be in here. Nom 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 nom.
You will have to keep the chewing quiet, though.
And he gives you a thumbs up, and he's just now just opens his mouth wider, and he's just shoveling it in. He's like eating like a duck.
That is an excellent image.
And so when you look at the mural and you look up at the sky now, you indeed see this massive entity this massive tentacles that is chasing after the moon, but just can't ever seem to get closer.
That would be something interesting to also collect. However, I think that one might be slightly out of catchable range for now. Give me 2 seconds.
That is, oh my god. That you know what? I should have known. That is hilarious.
Just a gentle little nod.
Now, as you're going about the room, you do happen to notice the refrigerator is open in the kitchen area. Do you go into the kitchen to see why it's open?
Yeah, because that's gonna waste all the food that's in there, if there's food in there.
So this is when, like, you hear just shuffling, moving around, and then you see, like, what looks like sodas and stuff stacked on top of something, and then the door starts to move and close, and then what's there in front of you? Anybody else in this campaign, if it wasn't Maury, I would have them have to roll an intelligence roll to keep their sanity. But this is Maury. Maury, what you see in front of you, the best way to describe is it looks like a cloud with an eyeball. And what you hear coming from it is a very gentle, feminine, beautiful voice. And she just, oh, DG didn't tell me anyone was going to be here. I'm sorry. I'm so embarrassed. I was going to be staying in the other, because there's multiple bedrooms in this area, but I can leave if that makes you uncomfortable. Granted, usually beings such as yourself, usually deciphered entities such as me, instantly become uncomfortable, so I think I might as well just leave. And she's getting ready to, she puts everything back in the fridge, and she gets ready to leave. What, Maury, do you stop her?
Yeah, because I've seen her kind before. And,
Oh, you go first?
I was gonna say, and I've got no problems with her hanging around.
Oh, then she will actually stop, and she is actually really perplexed by this because she's just used to normal humans are always cipher entities of a higher dimensional plane, but given the very rare instance when there is, they usually go instantly mad at just the sight of her. So she actually would like to talk with you and learn about you if Moria is open to talking with her.
Absolutely.
And she tells you that she comes from a town. It's got a very peculiar name. It's called Envale, and it's a very nice town. Her father is actually the superintendent of the school and is actually going to be running for the mayor. And they have a very talented radio program there, and it's just fantastic. And granted, it's a very peculiar things happen there, but it's a very nice town, and people from even entities from higher dimensional planes they always feel at home. Maury, I can just think inside of you right now, you're getting that evil Grinch-like fucking smile because you just think collection.
Yeah, if you actually look at the chat.
Oh no, I was reading this the entire time, and I was
okay.
Oh, the smile on my face. So, Maury, what all do you talk about with the sentient cloud? And once again, for the dear listeners, this sentient cloud is this is one of the silica-based life forms. This silica-based life form, they actually evolved so much that they were able to ascend to a higher dimensional plane. Granted, they're not up to like on the higher planes of the seventh, but they're up to about like the fifth dimension. So they did come from Earth, but they evolved so much that they evolved past our plane. So, oh yeah, she's just loving talking with you right now, Maury.
Yeah, just asking her a lot of questions about her childhood and how did she grow up? Did she face any particular difficulties? Has she ever been stuck somewhere?
So it's funny that he mentions that because, granted, for life was harder until they got to Vale, but it wasn't her that had been in captivity. Right now, it's just one of her cousins she hasn't seen in so very long. They apparently were going to some like they were going to some area like some island or and then but they were kind of a dick, so honestly no one went and looked for them.
Interesting. What a shame about your cousin.
She tells you more about the culture and the way of their species, of the sentient clouds, that they've been around for a very long time. It's just, funnily enough, like just most of the time, people just take pictures of them and say, "Oh, look at that formation there! Isn't that funny?" And it's just like, but we're actual entities. Why? We deserve some acknowledgement of our existence. And yeah, I can just see that same look on Maury. And Maury, she actually shares with they actually eat. Oh,
I cut out.
okay, hold on. All right, here, let me face more in front of my mic. Alrighty, so, and actually, let me just turn off automatic. I'll just put on like permanent gain just to be safe.
If it wasn't already announced before, is Brian did get a new microphone, so that's still being tinkered with.
Yes, so there we go. I took it off the automatic gain, so maybe that's better instead of trying to rely on Discord to automatically do that. So now, Maury, you have food shared with you by her, and you actually get to experience some food from a higher dimension. And
That is actually really bad. That's worse, actually.
oh, but
You're cutting out like every other word.
Or like every other syllable.
oh, okay. I had it. I think I had it in the wrong direction then. Oh yeah, I had the gain set too low. There we go. The gain was set way too low. It was set to like 30. It should have been set high. All right. Okay. Now I should be coming in a lot better for you because I have the gain set way higher. Now, you are being shared some food from her dimension. Now, do you eat the food, Maury?
That would depend on what it is.
The only way to describe this dish that you've been given, the only thing that maybe texture-wise would be a parfait. Silk smoothie, kind of like a mousse.
Yeah, I like some fruit parfaits.
It blows your mind. And she tells you that that this indeed is actual fruit, and these are fruits that come from their dimensional plane. And she would be more than happy because they've actually been trying to get into the fruit importing game. And if you actually could find a business that would be willing to work with them, that you would most likely get a massive finder's fee and a set amount of royalties for, procuring the deal and getting them so they could establish a fruit trade.
How
Maury,
convenient.
but that's up to you, Maury.
See, I've got a bunch of different enterprises in a bunch of different areas for a bunch of different things. So it would make sense if I just nudged her over to one of my more legitimate ones.
Excellent. And we're actually going to say that actual legitimate business is actually one of the vendors that provides food for the Mystery Flesh Pit, for the happiest place in Earth. So, with that procurement, like, that's going to start stocking all of the food courts with this fruit. So that's going to have a lot of different dishes and such going to be made. And Maury, you are already very, very, very rich, but good God, the money you're going to make from this.
Purpose for money I make, so it makes sense for me to always need more.
And this actually gets you really in good with the sentient cloud silica race. And, well, actually, during this trip and the next, and a couple sessions, you will actually be invited to, because it's actually only about a 3.5 hour drive from where you are to Vale. So if you wanted to go and have a meeting with them, you actually can. You're of course going to be invited for that. So that's up to you here in the next. I will let you know when you are allowed to head out.
Sounds good.
Excellent. And Maury, you just sit back eating this amazing mystical parfait, and you just think of everything's coming up, Maury. And as the camera would move around, it would move away, go back downstairs, going through the elaborate doors, and we would come to Moonlight as she is walking with Nathan's father. And thankfully, he has a very simple Irish name. He is just Peter. And Peter's been telling you all about silica-based life forms, Moonlight. Lassie, you see, back in the before a time, before there were all normal humans and such, and we were more related back to the, well, you would say apes. Well, a certain branch of us went off and we became our own species. We actually evolved past carbon, and we are actually more silica-based bodies now. And we all take many different aspects of different animals and such. And during the phase of the moods, little lassie, it will have a different type of effect on our bodies, the chromosomes in them. And well, for the certain silica beings like us, who are they like to call us the animal silicas, the animus silicas, we will exhibit animal tropes, which is where a lot of the legends of werewolves, lizard people, mermaids, and such all usually come from the us silica-based life forms.
That really makes sense. And I'm just kind of pondering because now I'm having a flashback to college. Well, someone was screaming about those different dimensions. I thought he was just on some really good shit. But Moonlight's just thinking that, and she doesn't say anything because she doesn't want to accidentally insult the guy.
As you're thinking about this, that's when he says, "Now, you do seem like a very bright young lady. I will say the ones that are the most dangerous of them all are the rock humans. No, don't worry.
Rock humans? Wait, how can they possibly be sentient?
Well, I unfortunately have had the privilege of encountering a few rock humans in the past, and I can tell you the way the biology work is they are silica-based life forms such as us, but their bodies, they're able to calcify it, and the calcification takes on the properties of stone, little lassie, and because of that, they're able to extend their lifespan hundreds, thousands of years because they can just go to sleep. But they are very solitary, lonely species. Like, literally, the mothers will give birth in the woods and leave the child there. And I've heard that a baby rock human is no bigger than the size of a thumb.
Aw, so tiny. But on
Now,
a serious note, that sounds horrifying.
and because of this, it makes them even more terrifying, the fact that they're able to survive that, if it's all true, which leads to their animosity. And if you actually encounter a group of rock humans, that is never good, little lassie. And
Uh,
I'm telling you all this because you worked for that park, very correct, little lass?
oh, yeah, I'm one of the Rangers, though.
Yes, then you definitely work for the little blonde idiot Aukenfell, and your boss, well, there are rumors that he is working with a rock human gang.
What? Since when?
Now, I can't be giving any dates or anything. I can only be telling ye what I be hearing, little lass, and what I heard, it's not good.
Oh no. Well, Alkenfeld did raise me, and I thought he was more open, but it just makes sense he hides things from me. So I wish I knew more. Otherwise, I think we could exchange information.
Hey, little lass, I'd be happy to exchange information with you. Anyway, you don't need to worry, and hopefully I can help you steer clear of whatever Alkenfell mistakes will be bringing ye way. Now, have a good rest of your night here, and just know that the silicas that only Animus and, of course, the Fae be here in the house. You don't need to be worrying about the rock people.
Real fast before you take off. These rumors, was there anything else that you heard besides him just walking with a rock person?
What do you mean?
I mean, for example, what benefit could someone like Alcafel gain by walking with a rock person?
Lass, well, one of the things that I be knowing is that Alkenfell has an expiration date that apparently he does not want to accept, and it's closer than you think. And, well, if the rumors of the rock people having a way to extend and, and essentially give immortality, well, that's definitely would be one reason why Alkenfell would be reaching out to the rock humans. And you, little lady, little lassie, there's information that can be dangerous. Just knowing it. There's a reason why we have our bodyguards and such here in the house, even though this is a peaceful summit, because we all know certain information, and just that knowledge alone is dangerous. How far are you willing to go with this, little lassie?
Well, Mr. Peter, I've lived my life dancing with death, so in this instance, sadly, it really makes no difference to me because I was raised to survive in any situation, no matter what the cost is.
Roll a d20 for me real quick.
Holy shit, I got 19.
Peter just exhales and he's just, ye be breaking an old man's heart because I feel I be letting a little girl be going off to her deathbed, but I'll tell you what you want to know. So, little lass, Alkenfell is working with the rock humans to extend his life. And the rock humans, their gang has members in the hospital and this a smuggling group. And there be rumors that they have something that costs like 500 million just for a taste. But this, whatever they sell, can cure anything. But for Alkenfell's ailment, he needs quite a bit. And the cost is quite high, little lass. Quite high. And it be bringing a little detriment to Alkenfell's plans for the future. Because if he pays this price, he can't, keep ownership of what he has. So, how will Alkenfell pay this cost? That is what we all fear. So, little
Right?
lass, be
Yes,
careful. Be careful, little lass. Be careful.
this information will die with me.
He gets a sad, solemn look on his face and he says, I really hope that don't be true.
Well, it's a possibility I've known about for a very long time because alcohol has raised me. I can tell from experience he holds nothing of value, not valuable to him, not really. There's no person in life he cherishes. So, but I'll be fine because you know what? He might have raised me, but that's why I got the information I need to survive, and I put on my big cheery smile as best as I can.
You seem like a very smart little lass, so I will trust you know what you are doing, and as long as you promise this old soldier that ye will be careful, I will be happy. And he gives you a little soft little pat on your shoulder, and he goes to go get some coffee. And Moonlight, as you stand there, you realize you have gone all around the manor. God, it was a long walk, a long talk, and you've gotten close to the entrance, and you just hear smacking, smashing, sound like a bone cracking, and panting.
Oh,
Two
goddamn,
people.
Riley.
You go after it,
Of course I do. I know those grunts anyway.
you follow running, and you see Riley on the ground, just his face, his eyes swollen, his shirt's all ripped up, he's got blood all over his face, and Xavier's on the other side. His shirt's ripped open in half, and he's just unconscious, just falling backwards on the fence. Both of them are fucking knocked down.
I quickly take a Polaroid and I take a picture.
How many do you take?
A bunch. This is going on my fridge.
You get many different angles. It's quite impressive. You can tell from what it looks like these nincompoops have been fighting for the last few hours, and that they finally just knocked each other out.
Well, you know what? It could have ended worse. So I'm gonna go over to Riley and I pull out a vial from my pocket, and it's a little vial of the whale saliva from back when we fought the Marauders. I kept some.
Excellent
So
and cool. And guess what? Because of since it's just a little bit, it's not going to be a really bad kickback for Riley. So when you do that, it's his wounds
yeah, just a couple
knitting,
drops.
the swelling goes down, and thankfully Riley just gets like a little nosebleed, and he starts coughing, and his eyes shoot open, and he's just, oh, hey, honey, how's it going?
Hey babe. I guess you and Xavier had some fun. Should I go heal him, or do you want me to punch him while he's unconscious or something?
No, that's enough. It's finally enough. I mean,
Okay.
the only
So no on the punch him in the dick.
nah. But as you help
Okay.
Riley up and you turn to walk away, Riley is just gonna say something that makes you stop in your tracks. The only thing that was weird is how he kept saying, I am a rock.
Honey, get your ass in the house. I pick up Riley and I throw him in the house. And
Ah!
I leave Xavier out there. I lock the doors.
When you're going back inside, you just see his face is actually looking up at you, and he's smiling a bloody smile.
Okay. Nope. 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 I know I don't watch movies, but I've seen trailers, okay? Nope. I just shut the curtains.
And as you shut the door, the curtains, everything, just the last thing we'll see from the scene with Xavier is he's just softly saying, I am a rock, I am an island.
I
And
get an immense shiver up my spine because Moonlight is now terrified. She's not physically showing anything, but she is fucking terrified.
and we see Moonlight, you're in the room and back in the room, and Riley is just, he sees this and he's just holding your arm. He lifts your hand to his mouth. He gives you a kiss on the back of your hand and says, honey, babe, I'm right here. Whatever,
Huh?
anything's coming, I'll be right here with you.
Oh, yeah, of course you will. She leans down and gives him a peck on the forehead.
And in this moment, you feel safe, but hold on, I just gotta pull up a little something real quick. Da-da-da-da. Everyone gets to hear my fun little And just as you are going right by the window one last time, you think to maybe look outside, see if he's still there. You just hear again. But this time it's just I am alone, gazing from my window to the streets below. I am a rock. I am an island.
What direction is his voice coming from?
Window.
Okay. Moonlight's staying away from that fucking window. Actually, she's gonna just move a couple bookcases in front of that window and in front of the other window, and then she's gonna rub the wall. Is like, I'm sorry I had to do this. I will polish everything before I leave.
Honey, there's something I wanted to say is that, like, the whole, like, fighting with me and everything, total normal Xavier behavior, but then he started talking about stuff that never happened, and I had to correct him on a lot of dates.
What information did you give him?
Well, he was just wrong about things in our childhood and stuff, and just about general things about Xavier in general. And granted, he looks like Xavier, but when we got closer and fighting, number one, his skin felt weird, honey. And that's when I noticed he doesn't look like Xavier at all.
So you fought someone who, honey, that wasn't Xavier. If he didn't look like Xavier, he didn't sound like Xavier, he didn't have his move, that wasn't him.
But honey, he has ID and stuff that says Xavier, everything.
Do you know how easy it is to make a fake ID? Do you know how many do you have any idea how many cassette tapes I've stolen over the years with fake IDs? I mean, I've heard other people do that.
But wait, then that could only mean. And Riley looks out at the window, and this is when we're going to have just an above board little flashback to explain for the listeners. Granted, Moonlight and Riley won't realize this, but back when Riley had this life or death fight against Xavier in the past, Riley did pretty much leave the Xavier on death's door, and as he was walking away, they were in a mountain area, and as Riley walked away, everything was quiet, and then one of the boulders started to shift and move and then take the shape of a man, a naked man. And then he looked down at Xavier, and Xavier asked for help, and then the individual stood up and slammed their foot down on his neck, snapping his neck and spine. Took his clothes, everything, and then from that day on called themselves Xavier. And we'll go from that moment till we go. Actually, Moonlight, what would you like to do next as you and Riley are just. What would be the next thing you would like to do to try to help you calm down from this?
I think Moonlight is probably gonna make a tea. She would smoke a joint, but she sees a no smoking and sign above so she's not gonna piss off the spirit. So she's gonna head to the kitchen, make tea. Makes a lot of tea.
You make a really massive coffee cup that is just a chamomile tea, and it does a job. It helps you to calm down. Your heart stops racing, and Riley's there the entire time, just holding your other hand as you're drinking your tea. And he sees how just shaken you are, and he's just, honey, when you're ready, you can tell me what's up, but I'm not going to force you to.
It's sometimes I have very strong instincts about something, and I'm having very strong instincts. So I think as a group, we really should just stay together. For the love of God, stay with the Fae until we leave, and then when we leave, we need to leave and never come back.
Honey, I mean, let's go to bed and we'll get ready in the morning. We'll go stay at a hotel or anything or something. We won't have to come back here. We'll talk to everyone in
Okay.
the morning about it. And
Well, hang on. I don't want to ruin everyone else's vacation, but we just have to leave this place. And okay, but I would like to get to the flesh pit as soon as the vacation's over. Okay?
no problem, honey. Well, the minute we're done, the vacation's over, we're going straight home. No side trips, no nothing. We'll go straight back to the flesh pit. And he
Okay.
kisses the back of your hand again. And outside the house, just the entire time walking around, looking through the windows, the individual that calls himself Xavier smiles again as he looks at Riley and Moonlight. And he picks up a phone. Alkenville, I finally figured out what the cost is going to be for your down payment. Yes. Well, here's the thing. You know me. I've been around for a very long time, Alkenfell, and money doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I like is experiences, and I want to have the experience of destroying a beautiful relationship. I want to kill Moonlight. It's a deal. Good. Click. And Moonlight, you finish your tea, you go upstairs, and you share a night with Riley. You don't know what happened outside. You don't know at Alkenfell what has happened, what has transpired. I did want to come back to Sticky Joe real quick. Oh, Sticky Joe?
I'm here.
So, as you were laying there with Peggy and you closed your eyes, this finally helped you to finally calm down enough, everything that's happened, and you don't go to sleep. You take one breath, two breaths, and on the third breath, it literally feels like your very soul pulls itself from your body, and you see it. No way. It can't be. It's MacGyver.
A hero.
And before you can run and try to hug him, he holds up his hand and goes, "Hello, my son. And this is just the form that you would most recognize because you've never known me in life. And I found that for you, the most calming and settling is this MacGyver. but my name is Siddhartha, Joe, and I'm going to help you find and understand your chakrams and finally control your chi. And this will help you to become and with the power you need. And you just might be able to save them in the future.
Joe will do
And
whatever it takes.
okay, so Joe, where we are going to go, we have much to learn, much to discuss. For you, this will be a long journey, but don't worry. In this astral realm, time is much slower. We have all the time we need, and you follow behind. You follow behind Siddhartha on your journey, and then the last individual this night, we go to Bethany. Bethany, you're sitting in your room and you have your prize. You are sitting there, and underneath this glass dome is indeed the magnificent hindquarter of the dwarf-sized killer, and it's been prepared and cooked for you. It's perfect. Just Bethany, eat the roast.
First, Bethany looks at it. She ponders, am I really going to do this? Am I going to put the ass cheek, cooked ass cheek in my mouth? But then she thinks he probably knows Moonlight from the same orgies. Considering what has gone down, this is not the first odd substance or object or whatever not has been in her body, and she is convinced that Bruno tells her that this is going to taste like some form of foreign food. She doesn't know what ethnicity the dwarf-sized killer is, so
It,
she thinks he's an
somewhere
evil. Go ahead.
Bruno's just downstairs. Bruno is just like, once again, I feel like Bethany's just misinterprets shit that I've told her. God damn it.
Yes.
You You cut into the meat and you hear from a vent, "No, my beautiful ass!" And you pull the meat up to your mouth and you bite into it. And honestly, the best way to describe the flavor that you're eating, it kind of tastes like Iberico pork. It is just like some of the most perfect pork you've ever had in your life. It melts in your mouth. And now, after you clean your plate, now you're going to roll me a d20 because now the real gravity of it hits you as you just have consumed human flesh.
Hey, wish me luck. 16.
Well, by the dice gods them very selves, they have granted you more than enough to just be like, I can live with this. And you're picking up the plate and tray because you're just going to put it outside because you were told just do that like how you would at a normal hotel and such. And when you are getting ready to open the door is, you can just in a second, you see it's getting forcibly kicked open. I'm going to give you a chance to try to jump out of the way. So give me a difficulty 3 agility roll. You got to be a 9.
16 again.
All right. This is just some Keanu Reeves, like Keanu Reeves has just possessed your body as you just perfectly just bullet time that shit, dodge it. And
Oh, I'm a vampire.
then a little foot is just coming at you now. And thankfully, you're just tall enough just to lift your foot and kick his foot and just like stomp that shit down to the ground and stop it. Like, was I being kicked at by a child? And you see there, standing there in front of you with bandages wrapped around his face except for one eye, and there's a slit cut in the bandages so his mouth can move. And he's got the asymmetrical top hat, and on his back he has like one gargantuan scissor blade. And he looks and he sees you there, and he pulls the scissor blade from behind him, and he goes to swing it at you. Bethany, what do you do?
Well, Bethany is going to first dodge this fucking blade that he's throwing at her.
Okay, so you want to go, okay, roll me one more time. This is another difficulty 3, so give me another 9. You got to beat another 9.
19.
Okay, how does this look as you truly expertly dodge this and end up behind him?
It wouldn't necessarily be an expert dodge. Bethany would basically step back and kind of trip over something, and in the midst of tripping over something, she kind of stumbles back and out of the way of his old blade and everything, and the whole thing is clumsily looking, and She's screaming with arms flailing.
And for your 19, I am going to let you have you're going to do you full back onto, because look, Bethany hasn't had any real training yet, no nothing. The only thing you had was a women's self-defense course, and you pull into your mind and you just scream out, "That's my purse! I don't know you!" And you kick him in the nuts. And literally this kick lifts the dwarf-sized killer off the ground, and he falls back down on his feet, and he's just... And he takes the scissor, slashes at the wall, making a crack in the wall, and the house shakes like, what the fuck? And he dives behind the drywall, getting into the crawl space, and he runs away in fear.
Yeah, you better run, you little bitch.
Fuck you!
No, fuck you. Your ass tastes like shit.
Granted, you know that's a bald-faced lie. That ass was delicious. Now,
Best ass ever ate.
this is when the moment that Rudy, who is a fucking moron and does not truly understand horror tropes, because he has indeed turned you into the true final girl. Because now you go back into the bedroom, and this triggers the Evil Dead fucking camera trope as you tear off the bottom of your dress, making it easier to walk. You sling across somehow you found a fucking ammo belt. You fucking where the fuck did you get a chainsaw? You put that on your back, and Jesus Christ, is that a boomstick? It's a goddamn yeah, and you pull the fucking shotgun and you saw the end of it off, and you spin it around, and you just see Bethany looks into the camera and goes, "Hail to the king, baby!" And you follow behind the dwarf-sized killer into the crawl space.
I'm late due from Mama, you little bitch.
And oh my god, hold on. Actually, wait, no. Not yet, because I really want to paint what's going on. So when you've gone into the crawl space, the house is pissed because that little fucker damaged it. So like I said, this is a sentient being. And here's the thing, there's a drive-in theater down the hill, and the house is grown up watching horror movies, and it knows what's about to go on. So it has literally crafted what is like a warehouse of like the titular scene of the final girl going against the killer in the movie. And so you see fucking Rudy holding his nuts, fucking limping, just trying to do like Freddy Krueger, holding the fucking scissor blade, scratching it against the wall, but he's just too pathetic holding his nuts. Just, God damn it, that hurt. And here comes Bethany.
He's late due from Mars.
Fucking got a real chainsaw, and then she's got her sawed-off shotgun. And Rudy's he doesn't look in fear. He's just fucking ready as he finally he begins his final mutation as just like how a octopus is able to expel ink from their body from an ink sac. Rudy has a ink sac, but he's able to expel it as a gas. So just as you scream out, "Omelette du fromage!" Rudy's just, what the fuck? And he just, a massive plume of black inky smoke expels from his crotch region, filling the entire warehouse. But the only thing we hear is a blade shing, shink, a chainsaw revving, and Bethany saying, "Omelette du fromage, motherfucker." And that is where we will leave off on this session. And when we come back, we will see the finale of Bethany versus the dwarf-sized killer, the spiritual journey of Sticky Joe. What's happening with Moonlight? Like, everyone, listeners, please hope for the best, because yeah, we got a rock human going after her. And Maury has made some interesting finds for his collection. Can I leave it as a better cliffhanger than this, dear listeners? So until the next one, everyone, goodbye.